An Italian journalist has lost his job for asking just one question. Mamma mia! What is this? What accent is that? Okay, anyway, here's the question that cost him so dearly.
You have been repeating several times that Russia should repay for the reconstruction of Ukraine. Do you believe Israel should repay for the reconstruction of Gaza, since they have destroyed almost all the strip and the civilian infrastructures? Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriele. It's definitely an interesting question on which I would not have any comment at this stage.
Gabriele Nunziati was working as a Brussels-based correspondent. Brussels, not the Sprouts, but the capital of Belgium. His employer, Italy's Nova News Agency. The European Commission press briefing on October 13th. That's the scene of what you just watched there. He asked a spokesperson of the European Commission a straightforward question. The EU has repeatedly demanded that Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine after the Russian invasion and all the damage it's done in eastern Ukraine. So Nunziati asked the journalist, should Israel pay to rebuild Gaza, according to the European Commission? They're the ones that made such a strong stance on Russia. Should the same be applied to Israel, as almost all of Gaza's civilian infrastructure lies in a smoking pile of ruin? Pinho called it an interesting question. This is the woman who was asked the question, the spokesperson for the European Commission. She called it an interesting question and then refused to comment. The video went viral, obviously, because what happened to the rules-based world order? What happened to equal rights and equal lefts or whatever, being the beacon of justice? Even the citizenry in the West, they smelt something off, right? Something out of date. Justice, perhaps, right? The facade continued to crumble. And people were sharing because there was an outrage. Like, why is there a double standard? People wanted to know. And they wanted others to see that double standard glaring in the face. And Nunziati, he made it crumble, that idea of Western moral dominance. He made that crumble a bit too quick. Certain people thought, this is not the guy who can get away with, exposing the West. How dare he, right? 2 weeks after he asked the question, which seems straightforward enough if you are a common citizen, you think, yeah, that checks out. Yeah, he's trying to compare these two. Nunziati received an email saying that you no longer work for us, right? Saying that the number of days he can keep working for his employer is now Ziati. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Nunziati's contract was being terminated. It's a sad thing, but I tried to inject some of my stupid humor into it. Now, Nova's spokesperson, the media outlet that fired this guy, right? They claimed the question was technically incorrect. Technically, right? Because Russia invaded unprovoked. Really? Okay. While, get this, Israel was just responding to an attack. It was self-defense, guys. Do they not have a right to self-defense? Do they not? I get called pro-Russian, anti-West all the time just for informing my viewers of the Russian side of the story of the war in Eastern Europe, right? Why Russia says they were provoked into attacking Ukraine. That is not to say I support the Russian side, but just giving the context of the other side, it's a bit too much for those who have been drinking the Western spin Kool-Aid for a bit too long. They don't know any other flavor. If you give them water now, which, I'm symbolizing as neutral, they're like, what the flip is that? There's got no taste. Where's the flavor? Where's the kick that I'm used to? Well, turns out the kick, the spin, I don't supply. And you're high on some other guy's supply, the Western supply, right? Anyway, this knee-jerk reaction to my commentary is understandable. It's also understandable as a knee-jerk reaction to anyone who dare critique or invite thought in the craniums of the common citizenry. How dare you make people think? All right? How dare you make people question the state narrative? Shocked Pikachu face. How dare I banish you to the shadow realm, bruv? You've activated my trap card. It sends you straight to the shadow realm, bruv. Get lost. Nova, the media agency, said the question caused embarrassment after Russian and Muslim world media outlets especially shared the clip. Yeah, the Global South shared the clip. Surprise, surprise, right? And that caused embarrassment. Oh, the European Commission was embarrassed. Oh, the international. I was just going like that because they also said they were uncomfortable. They were uncomfortable. Your question made me uncomfortable. I need to defend myself against your employment contract. The International Federation of Journalists, the European Federation of Journalists, Italy's own National Press Federation, they all condemned the firing of this man. They said it's unacceptable that asking an uncomfortable question, a technically incorrect question even, maybe it was a technically incorrect question, that's subjective, right? That's an opinion. Just one question of any kind could cost someone their job. Interesting. They condemned it. I'm calling it interesting. It's a it's a dig at the woman calling his question interesting. Anyway, sorry, that was terrible. Now, all of that is not to mention that this is probably the most exposure that this Italian media agency has ever gotten or ever will. Who the hell knows about Nova? But I digress. It's not about their media popularity. It's about where they stand. And if you stand with comparisons made between Russia's invasion and Israel's basically the assault primarily on civilians, can't make that comparison. We need to stand by one side, the Western side. We need to make sure we stand against the other side, the non-Western side, right? Shame on you for opposing that. Shame on you for making people think. Bad boy. Bad boy. Here's your, what do you call it? Your P60. Or is it P45? It's P45. I don't know if the Italian system's the same. In the UK, you get a P45 if you're fired, I think. Is your last payslip. Anyway, the European Commission. God, my meandering is spectacularly bad. Sorry guys, that I subject you to that. Maybe you enjoy that. I don't know. Anyway, the European Commission clarified that they had nothing to do with the dismissal. So, the people that got asked his uncomfortable question, they said, we've got nothing to do with the dismissal. We didn't ask him to be fired, right? They emphasized they're always available to answer any questions that the media have for them, any questions. And by answer, they mean skirt around the question if it's uncomfortable and it doesn't align with the Western bloc narrative. Avoid it altogether or revert to safe comments like Israel has a right to defend itself and Russia doesn't. If things get a bit hairy, you can always fall back on Israel has a right to defend itself. Whatever is said, the man is fired, right? That's for sure. For asking a question many wanted to know the answer to. The damage is done though, right? He asked the question, right? The videos went viral. People got thinking and many people smelt the BS. A journalist asked about double standards in international policy and lost his livelihood for it, ladies and gentlemen. Perfect demonstration, really, of the double standards that he was highlighting. They've just shone a bigger spotlight on it. Hate on Russia? Mafi mushkila, no problem. Hate on China? Go ahead. Hate on Iran? Bruv, are you kidding? Yes, please. Send it. Send the hate. Iran. Hate for a Western friend and ally? Hate on a Western outpost in some distant non-Western land? Gasp, how could you? My left butt cheek is getting itchy. You're making me uncomfortable with your questions. How could you ask such questions? Why am I so high energy today? It's because it's Friday and I'm off work now. Oh, snap. That's funny. He called out the double standards and he suffered for it. But at least it's highlighting the reality, which is one set of rules for the West and another set of rules for the rest. That's what we fight back against here on my page. Ladies and gentlemen, for the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin, I'm Mahfouz. And I'll see you on the next one.